proof of work, and after that we'll talk about cryptography algorithms and hash functions. Okay, let's start. I think I sent you a video from MIT, the first session of the course, blockchain course of the MIT, in which some historical topics were discussed. I hope you have watched the video because some useful information about the historical of cryptocurrencies, about the digital currencies, were introduced in that video. Okay. As you can remember, we have a very short introduction to the structure of the blockchain. A blockchain is a consequenting some blocks after each other. Each block contains some transactions. Each block contains some transaction, and also each new block at the end of the chain is added by a node which is called miner. We will discuss all these concepts in detail in next lectures. But for now, each block is added at the end of the blockchain by a node called miner. A miner should solve a puzzle to be able to add the block at the end of the blockchain. Solving this puzzle is called proof of work. Proof of work. Okay, so in this lecture, at first, I'm talking about transactions. Then ledger. I will talk about ledger, what's a ledger, and finally proof of work. And today I just talk about these three concepts, okay? And in the next lectures we will talk about hashing and cryptographic hash functions, digital signatures, and the like. Okay, let's go. What's a transaction? In the real world, we all keep our money in the banks, okay? When we spend some money in this course, 2 or 3 characters: Alice, Bob, and Eve. Okay? Alice, and another person called Eve. Suppose that went some, for example, $2 to Bob. Okay? This is called a transaction, financial transaction. Okay? So in real life, how Alice can send $2 to Bob? Okay? Alice can give $2 in cash to Bob. But this case is happen when Alice can see the Bob. If Alice is here in Iran and Bob is, for example, in Iraq, how Alice can send $2 to Bob? One option is sending by post. It's not reliable, it's not so fast. Another usual case is Alice sends a check to Bob. Okay? Sends a check to Bob, and then Bob goes to the bank. The banker checks that the holder is really Alice, in fact, the authentication, and then check the receiver, Bob, is the right person, and then transfers the money. It means that the balance of the Alice will be decreased by $2, and the balance of Bob's account will be incremented by $2. Okay, I know you all know this, but what about cryptocurrencies? What about Bitcoin? As you know, the first and the most famous cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. After Bitcoin, we have Ethereum. Okay. Let's talk about how transactions are in Bitcoin and in your information. Do you have sound? Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Okay. I said in real life, you all have account in banks. Okay. In banks, your real identities like your name, your national ID, and some other information are kept. But in cryptocurrencies, there is nothing about personality. No names, no ID, nothing. Okay? Just an address. For Ethereum, a balance. Your accounts in banks also has a property called balance. Shows that how much money you have in your account. In Ethereum, each account only has two properties. Only two properties. One is the address of a wallet, and the other is balance, how much Ethereum you have. But in Bitcoin, it's different. It's important, please note. In Bitcoin, each account has an address along some information about about input transactions or unspent transactions and output transactions. Okay, maybe you say, do we have the balances for accounts? No, we don't have. In Bitcoin, for each account, in fact, for each wallet address wallet, we have which transactions send money to this address and which transactions were spent from this address. For example, suppose that this is Alice. Okay. Suppose that Alice receives, I don't know, 2 Bitcoin from one person by this transaction and 5 Bitcoins from another transaction. Okay. Now the balance is 7, but the balance are not kept. If Alice wants to spend money, she must say that I want to spend this incoming transaction. I want to spend 2. Maybe, for example, he wants to send 1 Bitcoin to Bob. Okay? To do so, she must create a transaction, say that the original money is this transaction. After that, she must say that she wants to send 1 Bitcoin to Bob, and what will happen to the remainder. And again, she must say that I want to send 1 Bitcoin to myself. And by this, the system, it seems that the system will eliminate this transaction, this input transaction. So we have 2 new transactions now. One by which the first transaction by which 1 Bitcoin is sending to the Bob, and the second transactions that by which Alice sends the reminder 1 Bitcoin to herself. Okay. In fact, in the Bitcoin, transactions are managed like this. We will discuss in details in the next topic. Just a very brief introduction. Okay. In cryptocurrencies, the transactions are the most important part of the cryptocurrencies. As I said, in each transaction has a sender and a receiver and an amount. How much, for example, Bitcoin do you want to send? How we should characterize the sender and the receiver just by an address. In next topics, I will talk about how these addresses will be generated, and I will give you the programs, Python programs, to generate different addresses with different standards. Okay. The network of the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, are a peer-to-peer network, something like this. These are the nodes persons who are connected together to send and receive the cryptocurrencies. This is the, for example, suppose that something like this is the network of the Bitcoin. Okay. Some nodes just sends and receive Bitcoins. Some others create blocks, which are called miner. As I said, in the blockchain, all transactions should be kept into the blocks. Okay? If it's a blockchain, transactions in Bitcoin, I think roughly transactions are kept into a block. Okay? Please note, each node, each node in the network have a complete. So all these nodes of the network of the blockchain. Now, suppose that Bob is here, okay, and here. Suppose that Bob sent 1 Bitcoin to Alice using that some of these nodes are miners and put the in this course I will talk about the details of how to generate a transaction. Each transaction contains information. Secure chain of the transaction provided network. How the network verify the transactions, verify the sender. The sender has enough money. How the network checks that the sender doesn't not double spend the money. The next in the about double spending. Okay, the let me share some. In my laptop, but in another place, I installed the at least 500 gigs software. This software after installation tries to download all the blockchain. As I said, all the nodes of the network which install the Bitcoin core at first must have all the blocks. So also you should have proper connection by which the Bitcoin core down blockchain. After downloading was finished, this is the interface Bitcoin core. Okay, as you can see, zero Bitcoin. This software just knows Bitcoin, not dollar, not dinar, not real. Okay? Yeah, 500 gigabyte hard disk because the as some files. Okay? Each block, each saved file. By this software, you can create create a wallet address. Let me show you another picture. Okay, peers. As I said in the previous lecture, the blockchain network is a peer-to-peer network. It means that each client will be connected to some other computers. In my case, I choose 10 peers. As you can see, here is the IPs, okay? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exactly 10 nodes. And by these 10 nodes, my core client received all the information from the network. For example, newly created transactions, newly created blocks, everything. Okay? And let's show you another picture. Okay? You are trying to install the Bitcoin Core. As I said, you will see something like this. You can do anything. You can do anything before downloading all the blocks. See this figure? 12 days. 12 days for me. With a good speed network, it took long 12 days to download all. It's a huge amount of data. It's a huge number of data, and all the blocks must be downloaded. And when downloaded, you can, I think in the setting, you can create an address for yourself just by clicking a button. Okay. Also, you can send or receive Bitcoin. For the first time, you should buy Bitcoin from a friend or through the I don't know, Bitcoin exchangers, Binance, for example. And when you buy Bitcoin, you should give your address. As I said, you can create simply here, I think in the file menu, you can create for yourself an address, and you should keep your password a safe place. If you forgot the password, it will take long time. As I said, by a very fast internet, for me it took 12 days for downloading all the blocks. However, after buying Bitcoin, when you receive transactions, you can create by this Bitcoin Core transactions. But this software is just a client, okay? For miners, there are some in other programs. There are some special hardwares and softwares that it's impossible current computers. Ethereum has also something like this. For the Ethereum also, you can download the Ethereum core client. Even you can download the Ethereum mining program. To do so, for the Ethereum, you should have a graphical powerful card, I think with at least 8 GB RAM. Okay? If you have a laptop which has a powerful graphical card which has at least 8 GB, so you can join to a pool by the program. You can simply find the program from the internet. With the computer, as you know, the electricity, lots of electricity will be consumed. Also, your laptop, CPU, and other instruments will be heated too much. Okay. Let's watch a video about transactions. As I said in the previous lecture, I will use some videos from MIT University and also from University of London. Let's watch a video, a short video about transactions from University of London by Dr. Zimmer. Okay, let me share the video.
Okay. Another one is Alice. This is Alice. Well,
Okay. Just a second to activate the subtitle.
hi. We're going to.
Okay. Can you see?
Start by talking about financial transactions.
Okay. I'm playing the video. If you have some problems with listening or the voice is not so clear, don't worry. The video has subtitle. Okay, so follow the subtitle of the video, and it's just, I think, 8 minutes, and we will talk about the materials that he's talking about. Okay.
Financial transactions is the backbone of this module.
He's talking about the transactions
Talking about
in blockchain.
we can safely have financial transactions in a different way from the usual way. And that's what cryptocurrencies are all about. So we're going to learn first. I'm going to talk very, very, very briefly about how financial transactions work in the non-crypto world. Then we'll talk about how they work in the crypto world. We're going to talk about financial transactions. This is Bob. Okay, right. Now we're starting to think like cryptographers. Cryptographers always talk about, and one of them is Bob, right? Okay. Another one is Alice. This is Alice. Well, you can see they look very similar in my pictures. Alice and Bob in the crypto world send messages to each other. In the world we're talking about, they're going to have financial transactions. They're going to send money to each other. So Alice wants to send Bob £5. Okay. Well, she could hand him a £5 note. That would do it, but she has to be in the same place as him. She could send a £1 note in the post. That would do it too, but it doesn't feel all that safe, and it's not that quick. She could also send him a letter saying, "I, Alice, give you Bob £5." But it's no quicker, and than that, it was sending a letter saying, for that to have effect, we need somebody else to be involved. At least one other person to be involved, one other institution to be involved. And who is that? Him. This is the banker. Do we trust this man? All say, man. Well, we may do. Alice sends, so let's see how using this banker or bankers will help. Alice now sends Bob a check. Bob takes it to his bank, talks to her, checks that this is Bob. That's one of the things that happens. And he says, "All right, I can fly." Then the banker then says, "I don't know any Alice in the hole in the head." So what he does is he sends a message somehow to Alice's banker. And Alice's banker first checks that Alice has, and secondly, he checks that Alice's secret is right. And he does that. So we've got two people authorized.
He's trying to say that in real life, we need a third party. We need, okay, to transfer money. But what if we don't want to trust them? What if we send directly to each other money? Okay, and blockchain in all the, we don't trust anybody. Okay, technology solves all the problems. Please let's continue.
I think this transaction, we've got two bankers here authorizing this transaction. Once these are done, the money's moved. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that the balance in Bob's account goes up and the balance in Alice's account goes down. Because the bankers now trust Bob and Alice. So what is banker? I know I'm laboring points you know very well, but this is important to understand for later. Bob's banker now has a ledger. He writes down on his list, he crosses out Bob's having 17. His banker replaces her having £36 and makes it £31. So they each keep track of how much money Bob One keeps track of how much money Bob has, one keeps money Alice, when Alice has. How that works. But what happens if Bob and Alice don't trust the bankers? I mean, this is all very well and good, the bankers trusting Bob and Alice. And that's sort of because in the financial crisis, I remember the financial crisis very well. I was in New York when Lehman Brothers, and I remember walking down across the street from Lehman Brothers and seeing all these well-fed bankers with boxes leaving Lehman Brothers with all their office goods. So that happened. People were losing their houses. All kinds of things were going wrong. Trust in banks were at an all-time low. I mean, that may not be an all-time low, but it certainly was low. And along comes Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah.
In fact, Satoshi Nakamoto, who invented the Bitcoin, comes the bankruptcy was occurring, okay? And he suggests that using a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin, which doesn't need to trust anybody. In fact, as you can see, Bitcoin and trusted cryptography.
Who is it? To answer this question, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, or very few people know who Satoshi, which is the one down here. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, that's called. And it says to the author's name is Satoshi Nakamoto. And nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Satoshi Nakamoto, we believe, has 1 million Bitcoins though. And as I'm speaking to you, a Bitcoin's worth £30,000 plus something. So having 1 million of them is giving him quite a lot of money. Or him, or it, we don't know. We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. We would know something from Bitcoin, but there haven't been. More on that later. But we're going to go through the abstract of the white paper in the next lecture. Meanwhile, the whole idea here is to get rid of bankers, not to trust banks, instead crowd. That's not to trust any individuals in the crowd. There's no trust of individuals, there's a trust in just everybody's common thing, rather than each other, and watching each other trust in individuals. And cryptography and cryptography. So what we're going to learn about, we're going to talk about how this system works with trusting crowds and the cryptography that makes it work. The blockchain is the way of organizing the data, which is mostly transaction, but I guess it's all transaction data, in a way that is trustworthy, completely trustworthy. Without the trust comes from the structure, from the cryptographic constructs on it, and from the fact that everybody has sight of everything. So controlled a very large part of what was going on. They wouldn't be able to pull the wool over everybody else's eyes. So we'll get to that. We'll look at the abstract, and then I'll take you over the next couple of topics, all the things that are in the abstract. You won't understand the abstract, I'm sure you know this stuff when I do it, but it will raise all our questions that we will answer one by one. Okay. That's it for now. See you at the abstract.
Okay. Until now, nobody knows anything about Satoshi. If you have a good... at first, about the question about this Satoshi, we don't know who is him, because he just wrote a white paper and run the first version of the Bitcoin, and after that he disappeared. He didn't want to be known, okay? So I don't know, maybe a group of people, I guess, invented the Bitcoin, and now they have a lot of money, lots of money, okay? The reason is that they didn't want the other know them. About the videos. These videos, to be honest, I don't have permission to share them. I will use them because I'm working with the London University, and in the previous semester I was the tutor of the blockchain course in the University of London, okay? So I can use these videos in my class, but I can't share them. However, I will share the recordings of these sessions. So it's like that you have access the videos with the subtitles, okay? So don't worry. I will share these recordings with you, and using these recordings, access to the videos. Oh, okay. As I said, the transactions are the most important data in any cryptocurrency. These transactions are recorded into the blocks, okay? Please don't share these videos through the YouTube. Use yourself. Please don't share them through the YouTube. What's the difference between Bitcoin and transactions? It's a question like that. I think your currency is dinar in Iraq, yeah? What's your currency in Iraq? Dinar? Okay, your question is like that. If I ask, what's different between dinar and between transactions? For example, you send some dinars to your friend. It's a transaction. Okay? What is the currency? The currency is dinar. And now, Bitcoin is like a currency, a cryptocurrency. Okay? It's said cryptocurrency. Why crypto? Because all these digital monies are using cryptography for their safety. Okay? So the Bitcoin is the currency, and transactions are transferring some money, the currency again, the currency is Bitcoin, between different users. Okay? So transactions are some Bitcoins or there are lots of cryptocurrencies today. I think more than 100 or maybe 1,000, I don't know. There are many cryptocurrencies. And in all these currencies, the most important part is transactions. By transaction, for example, I want to buy, for example, I give the money by Bitcoin. So I create a transaction, transfer the Bitcoin to the owner of the car, and it's a transaction. And using these transactions, for example, I buy a car. Okay. By the government, Bitcoin maybe is illegal. It's not, at least we can say Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency is not a formal currency accepted by the government. But please note, Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies are invented to be independent from government. So government cannot control them. As you saw in the video, he said Satoshi Nakamoto invented the Bitcoin when we had a bank crisis. Okay. So even though the governments are against the cryptocurrencies, they can't do anything. For example, I think maybe you hear the news that China, I think it was 1 month ago, China government said that in China it's illegal using different cryptocurrencies. But who cares? Who knows that I have or I have not cryptocurrency? In Iran, it's also forbidden, but who knows that you have Bitcoin or not? Because your real identity is hidden. Just an address. Address is something like this. Please let me to show you an address. Just a second. Just a second, please, to find a valid address and share with you. Okay? A valid address is something like this. And that's it. Nothing more. You don't have any name, you don't have any ID. Let's check the Bitcoin Explorer site. Okay. Yeah. In the next topics, we will talk about how to generate addresses. In fact, when you create an account, you have a private key and public key. Hashing of the public key will be your address. I will talk about them with details, and I will give you the Python programs that simply you can run and generate these addresses. See Ethereum Explorer. Let's share. Okay, this is the Ethereum blockchain explorer. Okay, here are the latest blocks, each block, and also here this part. Can you see this part? Newly created transactions. Okay, this part. This part is the transactions. Let's click. Who is the sender? This is the ID of transactions. Later I will discuss them in detail, how to create the transaction hash. Okay. From, this is the sender. Address of the sender. And who is the receiver? Receiver. This is the receiver. Okay. So the sender, this is the receiver, and the other information like how much Ethereum was transferred by this transaction. Token transfer, you can see. But there is nothing about the identity. Who is the person? Who is the person who has? We don't know. So this is why I say everything is hashed. Everything is secured by the cryptography. Okay. So not only me, but also government behind these addresses. Okay. In this topic, we will talk about all the details, how to create transactions. For creating transactions, we need to know what is cryptography, what is cryptographical hash functions. Okay. Cryptocurrency is a general term is a general term, like Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, Ethereum is a cryptocurrency, Dash is a cryptocurrency, Shiba is a cryptocurrency, okay? All these cryptocurrencies, in all these cryptocurrencies we have transactions. All these cryptocurrencies have a blockchain, okay? I will talk about them in details. Don't be in a rush, just wait. I will talk about all these concepts. Okay, I think for today it's enough. Tomorrow I will for the tomorrow I will record the video using this system, and I will tell you when. So if you like and if you can be online. I will record and like a online session, but if you can't, don't worry, I will share the videos. So for tomorrow, I don't know when, maybe in the evening, maybe tomorrow 8 or 9 p.m. okay? When I wanted to start recordings, I will tell you using the Telegram group. If you like, you can attend to the recording session, but if you don't, it's not important. I will share the recordings for the next session. You want to, if about the time, I changed the time because most of you asked to change the time, but if you want to change the day, all of you must be agree on a day, or at least 2 or 3 days that I check. Most of the days I have different classes, okay? So if all you have a commitment on a special day, you can tell me. If I can, certainly I will change the day. It's not very difficult, okay? But you all must have a commitment, okay? So it's possible you can talk about that with each other, and when you finalize it between yourself, you can share the day with me, and I will try. If I don't have any predefined class at that day, I will change the day, the time. It's okay. Okay, that's it for today. See you in next lecture. Good night.